Today we answer the big question: how do I get started on cybersecurity? Cyber is fascinating. It's definitely a great career to be had. It's a fun topic, but the amount of knowledge and experience that some people bring can feel overwhelming to newcomers or to people who want to grow in the field. Hi, this is Carsten from Hacking Matters, where each week we investigate the best practices in cybersecurity. Today we reflect back, including on a lot of material on this channel, to build a curriculum for you to get started in cyber. We specifically look at knowledge that enables you to be either a security expert inside a company or a security consultant to a company. We're not looking at ethical hacking, which is another career track and equally fascinating. If you want to become an ethical hacker, there's other sources like Hack the Box, where learning by doing, you break into systems to learn how to do it and how to secure them eventually. But even if you do want to become an ethical hacker, the knowledge in this curriculum will help you understand better what the other side is doing, basically in defending from hacking attacks. But the main focus today is on the defensive side, on how to build security organizations, build technology, operate processes in that environment, and ultimately lead to higher hacking resilience. I've organized the curriculum into 4 areas, and I believe you can go through the entire curriculum in about 4 weeks, giving you plenty of opportunity in between each session to apply what you've learned. The first area is on organization and governance, basically how to build a security team and interface with the rest of your organization. The second area, architecture and design, how to build technology in such a way that allows for security. It's basically the stage on which everything else happens. Third, operations, filling that stage with life, making the security team operate on the technology you have built. And the fourth and final area is hacking assurance, understanding what hackers do and what you need to do in response. So you're building the foundation, you're setting up a stage, you're filling the stage with life, and you're taking an outside perspective on whether what you're doing is effective. Those are the 4 areas. In all 4 areas, we will take a hacker perspective, because everything you should be doing in security needs to affect the hacker in some way. Otherwise, we're not going to discuss it. Separate to what we're discussing, there's security compliance, getting certificates, passing audits. We're not going to deal with that much. Our focus will be on how to keep the hackers out. There are 2 ways for you to explore the curriculum, both of which are in form of YouTube playlists. There's one master playlist with all the videos that we'll touch in an order that I believe makes most sense to go back and forth between the different areas because they mutually reinforce each other. Separately, there's 4 other playlists, one for each of the areas. If you're just interested in one of those areas, just watch those playlists instead. Either way, you'll have plenty of time in between each of the videos to reflect and try to apply what you learned to your jobs. If you encounter any questions while doing that, please do let me know. I'm happy to answer them, for instance, in the comment section below each of the videos. I've also created a set of PowerPoint slides to help you apply the frameworks right away. You can download the latest version in the link below, and it will always include the frameworks we're discussing on the channel, and it's a growing portfolio of best practices that you can put into practice right away. All right, time to get started on the curriculum. In your first 2 to 3 days, you want to watch 1 video on each of the 4 areas. In the first area, organization and governance, you want to watch the video on the role of the CISO. Even if you're not a CISO yourself and have no ambition to be a CISO, it's important to understand how security teams are generally structured. And it starts from the top, of course, the CISO setting up themselves as a security leader in an organization, advising the rest of the organization, but also structuring a team below them. In the second area, on architecture and design, you want to look at the cyber defense funnel, where we argue that even mediocre outcomes are acceptable in security as long as you spread your mediocre outcomes across all the relevant areas, basically getting the big picture first, that you have to prevent, detect, possibly respond to or recover from hacking attacks, and achieving mediocre outcomes in all 3 is your first goal before becoming really good at any one of them. In the third area, operations, your overview video discusses 5 processes that form the baseline of security. And those 5 processes go a long way in keeping hackers out. And in the fourth and final area of hacking assurance, your overview video looks at the typical hacking lifecycle to understand how hackers break into your organization, navigate in your networks, and then take data out or encrypt data on your systems. To understand, again, in an overview form, how the hacker looks at your organization, what they're looking for, and how you can make their life harder. So those 4 videos cover the first half of your first week on the curriculum. And then, obviously, if something tickles your interest specifically, go dive deep there. But otherwise, go 1 video per area at a time, so you learn the outside and the inside perspective at the same time to understand why you need certain capabilities and what capabilities are possible. Next, we'll go through each of the areas again for all the videos that I believe make sense in the order in which they make sense. On organization and governance, we already looked at the role of the CISO. The next video should be the security team itself, how the responsibility are split, what different moving parts all have to work together to have a well-functioning security team. Followed by a video on creating dashboards and measuring KPIs. Basically, how do you as a security team track progress of yourself and of the rest of the organization? What does good look like in security and how do you measure it? Related to that, and the fourth video deals with the trade-offs between security and innovation. We as security professionals, of course, believe security is good and more security is better, but that's not universally true. Security can become an inhibitor to innovation, to productivity. And the security versus innovation video illustrates what you can do to stay innovation friendly. Next, we look at cyber insurance, acknowledging that security always has its limitations and you might need outside help at some point. And cyber insurance is a great partner to have in an event that you get hacked. 6th on the list, social engineering. It's actually a 2-part video discussing how you can help the rest of the organization to become more resilient to hacking attacks. The social engineering part, where people call you or send you emails trying to fish for credentials or otherwise access into your systems. Important topic. And the final one on this area of how you build an organization and the governance for your security team to be well embedded as part of your organization. Second area, architecture and design. The base video was the cyber defense funnel. Now we need to fill this ambition to be at least mediocre in the different areas with live. Which videos are part of the curriculum for the second area? First, we look at network segregation, basically how to make sure that access is split into different horizons. And if some part of your organization gets hacked, the rest might not be hacked yet. Then we look at zero trust, which basically builds on a somewhat segregated environment, but acknowledges that, of course, access must happen regularly and that this should probably be the default. And through good identity management, you need to make sure that people can't access the most critical assets. Third, and finally, in the area of architecture and design, we look at backups. Again, acknowledging that things don't always turn out the way you wish, and you might need to recover after files get encrypted or deleted. In that video specifically, we'll look at how backups should be set up to be ransomware proof so that your original files and the backup don't get encrypted both at the same time. That wraps up architecture and design, basically setting the stage for everything else to happen on now. Leading us into the third area, operations, where we fill that stage with live. There are separate videos for each of the baseline processes: patching, identity management, monitoring, vulnerability management. And you should probably watch one at a time and in between the videos reflect on how your own standards and practices match or deviate from what I'm discussing. Again, feel free to ask any questions, comment where you think multiple options lead to the same goal. The content in the videos is not meant to replace anything that's already working well. It's supposed to provide rough guardrails in the direction that most people are traveling and are happy with the outcomes. As a security team, you're overseeing most of these processes. Patching is done by IT operations, identity management by identity operations, backups by IT operations, but the process that you own is vulnerability management. And so we have a few more videos that look at the nitty-gritty of vulnerability management, because there's a lot of time spent on this topic by most organizations. And in my experience, it's not necessarily time well spent in many instances. In that deep dive into vulnerability management, there's 4 videos that I think are relevant. First, we look at the hackability score, a way to reason about what vulnerability management data means and what action it should prompt. We then look at the regulatory requirements on vulnerability management, which in many places, especially Europe, now influence how vulnerability management is done. If you're not in a regulated industry and you're outside of Europe, feel free to skip this one, but it might still be good inspiration to see where generally parts of the industry are moving towards. Next, we look at bug bounties, basically your way to outsource some of your vulnerability discovery to a big community of highly specialized experts. However, as easy as that might sound, there's a lot of work that you need to do first to be bug bounty ready. Fourth and final, on this deep dive into vulnerability management, we look at IT simplification. Because many bugs don't arise because people are ignorant of the technology, but because they're overwhelmed by all the moving parts in the technology. So in many, if not most organizations, if you want to make progress towards better security hygiene, you first have to reduce the overall complexity towards simpler, more harmonized technology. And to complete this area of operations, there's one more evolving topic, that's AI and how it relates to cyber. We have a couple videos already, and we'll keep adding to use cases that can and should be addressed with AI. The initial excitement that LLMs will replace everything, of course, has been replaced by a more realistic attitude that LLMs can be great co-pilots into many of the topics we already listed. And since this is such an evolving topic, just check the playlist for what the current suggested deep dives are on AI. All right, finally, hacking assurance. The baseline video looked at the 3 stages of a hacking attack, and there's one video for each: how hackers break in, how they laterally move, how they cash out, and what you need to do to stop them. So those 3 videos in that sequence, of course, come next. And then there's additional deep dives. Next in the curriculum, we look at the hacking mindset, understanding why people get into hacking. And of course, often it's not for criminal intent, but you want to understand hackers, especially the criminal ones, to be able to stop them. And to complete this chapter of the curriculum, a video on ransomware resilience, basically a summary video looking at all the different steps it takes for criminals to hack in and deploy ransomware in your systems, but then backtracking and asking in how many places could you have stopped them and how do you prepare for that to be likely. So these were the 4 areas of the curriculum. Now there's one more video that you want to look at maybe a few days after you had time to think about everything else, and that is on measuring cyber maturity. Basically, with everything you know at this point in the curriculum, you should be able to distinguish a well-secured company from a hackable company. And we look through a framework for you to conceptualize this. And this perspective will really help you internalize the learnings. Try to fill this out for your own company or for any company you're familiar with to see if now you understand what all moving parts, people, process, technology, have to work together to create great hacking resilience. Once again, the PowerPoint slides will help you do this quickly. The frameworks are already laid out there for you to fill. So there you have it, a cyber security curriculum for you to go through in about a month to become a security expert, to become a security consultant, and to help fill so many of these job posts that are still out there. Despite AI, despite automation, the world is still looking for literally millions of security professionals, and hopefully you will be one of them soon. If this curriculum helped you make progress in your understanding of cyber, please help spread the word, tell us about it, like, subscribe, and let's build a more secure world together. Thank you very much. Happy hacking.